What's up, everyone? Welcome to Unmasked, where things are discovered, uncovered, brought to the light, and made known. I'm your host, Bryant, coming live to you from PG County, Maryland. If you're interested in finding out about the untold stories behind being a college coach, this is the show for you. Being a former men's basketball coach for 16 years, there are so many untold stories behind the scenes in the life of a college basketball coach. Now, let's unmask them. Today's guest is a young and bright assistant coach with a tremendous basketball mind, outstanding work ethic, an excellent talent evaluator, an elite recruiter, a teacher. That's always good in this business. A great development of talent. He develops a lot of talent, and he's a Mitchellville, Maryland native. Ricardo Rush Jr. I got to make sure I say Junior. I don't want to upset everybody. So let me read a little bit about his bio before we even bring him on. But Ricardo, graduated from University of Maryland, where he was a student manager for 4 years. So he had a chance to work not only with Mark Turgeon, but he had a chance to get to work with Gary Williams before he retired. So he had, probably two, I'm going to say, I don't know how similar or even close to similar they are, but, two guys he had a chance to work for, learn from. And then from there, had a chance to go and work with the Orlando Magic basketball operations for a couple of years. So he was in the NBA, had a chance to come back home and he was working, but then he also was an assistant coach at, Charles Herbert Flowers. And I can remember, I'm gonna tell you how old I am. Flowers was just opening up when I was coaching in the county at Oxon Hill. So they started, I remember they started 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. And so I remember those days. He also worked as a assistant coach with the Blue Devils, DC Blue Devils grassroots program. And for 4 years, four years, he worked with those guys, and then had a chance to get into college coaching ranks and went out to the West, to Salt Lake Community College. So he jumped into junior college ranks. He was there for 2 years, and then he had a chance to come back to the East Coast, and he's presently now took a job this spring at New Jersey Institute of Technology at NJIT, where I know he's going to do an outstanding job. I want to say, and I've kind of known him from a distance, so I'm not going to say I know him being a PG County guy, but I've studied his work, so it was great to get him on while he's young before he really blows up, and I know one he's going to be a head coach sometime. So. Welcome to the show, Ricardo, man. I hope all is well.
Appreciate you, man. Really appreciate it. Being a fellow PG County guy, man, excited, really excited. I know your track record, and I want to have some longevity in this business like you, man. So I appreciate you.
Well, I'm glad I could get you on, man. So one of the first questions I like to ask, and we'll jump right into it. And you're young, but you've been around basketball, so you kind of know a little bit. But there's no handbook, because everyone thinks it's different when they see it from the outside. There's no handbook to being a college coach. Tell me about that first day, first week, first month, when people don't tell you, they don't let you know what you're doing. Like after you leave human resources or orientation, because nobody gives you any direction. You just got to figure it out on your own. Yeah. Talk about that, whether you were in Salt Lake City, which junior college is a different level, but that program was like an oil machine, or even when you got the NJIT this spring. Talk about that.
When I was at Salt Lake, it was new because like Coach Taylor, who's the head coach now, he had never been in JUCO. So me and him had never been in JUCO before. So that was like new for us because, I did some stuff in Maryland, and he had been like a Division I guy his whole career. So, it was just like a period where it's like, you're jumping around and it's, a little different, and, you kind of all over the place. But, quickly, like you said, the program is a well-oiled machine, man. And it's so similar, I think, to the Division I level that, things were, I was caught up to speed really quick, and just getting stuff done was my motto. I would say when I first got to NJIT, like you said, man, it was just like, the first thing I had to do was go, the first thing I had to do, I was watching Brendan's interview yesterday, so it's funny, was take the recruiting test. Like I literally drove up, drove up straight to my apartment and like had to take the recruiting test like 15 minutes later. So I mean, it was tough because I was like, man, I don't want to, I don't want to mess this up. So that was my introduction, man. Like you start the day and recruiting test 15 minutes later, man. So I hope you read all this stuff and guess what? Now you got to go. Okay, you passed. Now you got to go on the road. So that it was like, it wasn't no time to breathe, man. It was just literally straight to work.
Trust me, I've been there. Same situation. I get the job. I'm supposed to start in August. Somehow they messed up the paperwork. I'm in my apartment for a month. I get the call. Everything is straight. I get to the office. He's like, hey, it's time to go to work. I get in. It's the first day of the recruiting period. And he's like, hey, where you going? This and that. And I'm like, I'm going to go down to Virginia Beach. And he was like, okay, go see the business person. Get everything set up. So I go in. She's like, you haven't even taken the test yet. So I know what I haven't studied anything. Yeah. That's thrown on you. I've been through it. Trust me. Yeah. So you passed. That's all that matters. Yeah. I saw you this summer. NBA camp. So
yep. Definitely passed. Hey, look, definitely passed. I told everybody, man. I said, man, I study hard, but I guess I got a great draw.
Recruiting, we all know, man. That's the lifeline of college athletics. You have to get, and you're NJIT, so that's even different. Yeah. You went from extreme Salt Lake City junior college to academic. You know what I'm saying? So academic. Like recruiting, like I said, it's the lifeline of college athletics. Yep. You have to get good players. You have to get good people. No question. And in your situation, you got to get good students. To be successful. And all three of those have to go well together if you want to be successful. You don't want to be chasing guys around on campus that don't want to go to class and things of that nature. You want to make sure, like, when it's a smooth transition like that, then everything else works for you. So talk about, and this is early for you, so you just kind of been in it for a few years, your best and worst recruiting stories you might have had. Because everyone, like, and I say this all the time, you're a DMV guy, and I said this, I don't know if Lewis Hennett was one of them. I'm like, yeah, that's your base, but like a lot of times you don't always get. No. Talk about your best and worst recruiting stories you've had early in your career so far.
Yeah, definitely. So I would say my worst is funny because I mean you probably get it when I say it. Honestly, like you reach out to being at the JUCO level, you hit so many kids, and those kids, they just blow you off. You know what I mean? Like kids don't want to hear junior college, they don't want to hear this, they don't want to hear that. And, it's funny because, like, I didn't know too much about junior college. Being from our area, junior college isn't big. We have Allegheny, we have, Cecil, we have some schools. But, it's not like how it is in the Midwest or, Florida. So I think just like trying to, dealing with kids, how many of them want to give me the time of day. And then, then later on, they'll look more into your program and be like, hey, coach, and you're like, hey, man, like, we already moved on. Like you wasn't responding, you weren't hitting us up. So I think just trying to get that message across of like levels don't matter, man. Like, like I know, like we've seen kids that in May, nobody wants them. But then after a year JUCO, the high majors want them. You know what I mean? So like, and that's what I try to tell kids. It's like, maybe it's not your time. So don't turn your nose up at any opportunity. But, I would say that's probably my worst because I really haven't, like you said, I haven't dealt, like, when I was out there, man, we were coming in like Duke and Kentucky in JUCO. So I was able to grab almost anything, anything we kind of wanted. So, but I would say best, probably was just, I probably won't say names, but just locally out there. It was a kid who just, had a relationship with from AAU, man, had a relationship with for years. I think he kind of looks up to me, and just just was able to kind of help him get through the struggles once he left his Division I, and kind of turn the tide on what people thought of him and different things like that. So I think that was probably the best one. But like you said, I'm pretty sure it'll get crazier and crazier as I progress.
It definitely will. Trust me, it definitely will.
Yeah.
Recruiting is always evolving, so you have to evolve you have to revolve with it, or
100%.
evolve with it, anything.
100%.
Sacrifice, man, that is one of the biggest words. You're young now, so yours is different, but you still have to sacrifice some things. I mean, like I said, you're young enough where your friends are probably starting to get married, or they want to go to vacations, they want to do all this stuff. Like, what did you have to? And you still want to be around your family, and you don't get that time. That's what people don't understand. Like, this job is, this profession is, it's 355, 360 days out the year. You're
no question.
Right?
No question.
You know what I'm saying? Or you got 12, 15-hour days, or you may have a game at, you got a game at 4 o'clock. You're like, all right, we get out, it's 6:37, game over. I can grab dinner, blah, blah, blah. And like, coach might change his mind. Like, you got a meeting, so you can't set time. So what did you have to sacrifice in order to achieve your current level of success this early?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, sad to say, I done missed like a lot of stuff, man. Honestly, I done missed like, one of my closest cousins to me. I missed her wedding. I done missed I missed two of my younger sister who's, pregnant right now, about to have a baby, her first baby. I missed both of her baby showers. I done missed, plenty of, weddings, baby showers. And like you said, just, just different time, like a bunch of time, man. Like my niece and nephew missing games that I can't, and how it is, like you said, just I was in Utah. I'm seeing my family once or twice a year. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, like you said, where, they get it and I get it and they get it. So it's one of those things where, everybody kind of knows, like, okay, this is what, this is what you want to do. And this is what comes with it. So, but it's tough though. It is tough because, like you said, we do want to be there. We I do want to be present. I do want to, like, I don't want to miss those things, but at the same time, I got an obligation to, the kids and, my coach and everything else. So, I just make sure I can get to when I can. I make the most effort. But like you said, how it is, even when you get to stuff sometimes, it's like, you done did so, it's working overtime. You know what I mean? So, you just hope everybody, they understand. Cause like you said, I do have friends get married. I had to miss some of my best friends from college weddings. You know what I mean? So it's just tough.
Talk about this, and I know it's early because you're going to jump into this, and I'm sure Coach Kennedy Bryant has been knowing that family for a long time.
Yeah.
But and like you were at Salt Lake, so scouting, man, like I don't think people understand like how huge that is at every level. Like you want to be prepared when you go into a game. It's just not you rolling out the ball. Like, talk about scouting report, how you just go into it, how you prepare. Are you watching 6, 7, 8 games?
Yeah.
Are you like like what does it entail with you? Are you because I'm gonna tell you how I was, and I learned this a long time ago. Chris Casey, I worked for him at Central.
Okay.
And I figured the best time I worked was late at night. You know why? Because I would go home and I would like get up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, start working on my scout, because no TV, no cell phone, no interruptions. You know what I'm saying? So talk about you with scout reports and like how you mentally start getting prepared, whether it's really early or like, are you the type of guy that's like, oh, I'm gonna go as it go along? Talk about that process.
So I like to, I'm just like you, man. I really like to do it at night. I know, because like you said, it's easier, like you said, when you're during the day, it's easy to just, so many distractions, but I really try to lock in at night. And definitely I like to get the personnel. I like the personnel piece. I like to get that done really early as I can, just because, that's not going to change. You know what I mean? Like those guys are who they are. And from game to game, you're not really changing, what the guy can do. So I definitely like to get out the way and, but when I get to the team stuff, I definitely I'm going to watch like 4 or 5 games. I'm going to watch I'm going to make sure I watch like all the out of bounds plays, all the side out, like, cause it won't be a ton of clips of those. So I make sure I watch all of those. And then for, obviously defense, I'll probably go to Synergy and look at their, pick and roll clips on the side, so I like to watch the whole games, but I also go back and like go through, the little clips and see, to make sure, how it is, to make sure somebody can't throw something at you. And if they, like you at least know in the back of your head, maybe you didn't have it on a scout report, but okay, this formation right here, they're going to do this. So I try to do that. on the back end. Just to, like you know how it is. It's just one of those things where you don't want to be surprised.
100% right, because the worst thing, and I say this all the time, is, when you telling coach, you talk with coach, coach, the kid is struggling. He's made his last 3 out of 27 from three, and then he play against you. And what's the first thing he do? He
Man,
knocked down
you look at 3 and then coach, he looking at you. Hey, this happened to us at Hutch last year. Oh my goodness, man. So the first time at Hutch, big favorite. We're a big favorite, man. I mean, the kid probably shot 20% for the year, made about 4 or 5 threes. Man, this kid hit 3 in a row. Tied. We was tied. He hit 3 in a row to take it at halftime. They up 9.5. I'm just like, the kids looking at me, coach looking at me. I'm like, hey, the numbers, man. We play the numbers, man. So
that's all you can do. Because I mean, because the kids do look at you like, coach, you said he couldn't shoot it. No, exactly. See, that's what the thing. Like, you have to get it over to the kid when you telling them, because they hear what they want to hear, and so that's a big part of it. Because if you say, man, he 3 for 20 something, they're gonna be like, oh, he can't shoot, and like, still a player, like you can't harder. So exactly. I understand that. Biggest challenge you think you may have experienced, and you kind of were in between doing the COVID, so that might be a part of it. Yeah. Biggest challenge you experienced since you've been a college coach? I think it's the biggest challenge.
Biggest challenge for me was probably, like you said, that COVID piece was hard. It was hard because obviously, like, man, I was out in Salt Lake at that time, man. We were having like an incredible season. We were having we had won like 15, 16 games in a row. We were really hot, and I thought we could beat anybody in the country. So that really hurt. And then obviously it hurt the recruitment of guys. And then also just being away from the guys, man. Like, to me, I'm a guy who likes to be in the gym with them, who likes to be around the dudes, man, and like want them to know they can always hit me, even if it's even if we in the gym just talking and they throwing up shots. Like, I'm that kind of guy. So I think that piece was tough, because you go from seeing the dudes every day to now you calling them. You know what I mean? And it's not the same, because how it is, man. Some dudes will try to duck you and dodge you, and you can't get to that guy. But like, if everything's normal, you can always get to them, and some people face to face, you can really look at them and they see it, if they're not all right or stuff like that. But they can lie to you on the phone. You know what I mean? So I think that was a big thing, just because I mean, I feel like I'm a good people person, so I really like to be hands on with the dude. So
that's good stuff. Like, I like what you said, because that's the one thing people ask me, like, oh, you doing scouting, but like, do you miss it? And I'm like, I don't miss the basketball. I don't miss the recruiting. I don't miss that.
Yeah.
Like you said, you in the gym with those guys.
Yeah.
You walk off the floor, you go in the locker room, you chopping it up with
them.
Exactly. You get you actually build a relationship with them, and they trust you enough to come to the office, hang out. So that's stuff you miss, because you build a relationship with those guys. Basketball part, I'll be like, nah, I'm good.
Exactly. Because like you said, that's the part that's like, that's the most genuine part, honestly. Like, that's the part that okay, like, if he know I got his back, man, like, this, it's bigger than basketball. That's the part to me that shows, like, like the kid knows, man, coach really care, man. He I could come in here and be on my BS and he'll talk me down, or he could, or I'm down and he gonna encourage me, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, these dudes are, man, 17 to 20, 22 years old, and we all been there. And I know, we all think, life is, one thing, and we think it's the end of the world at that age. So I get it. So
true. Do you find that there are things about you that people might misunderstand, or they just, they don't, they want to label you or this or that, but like, what are they? Anything that you like jumps out at you, and because you've been around more than what people think you have. But is there anything that you might misunderstand about you?
I think people think maybe. I think the thing that people probably say is probably like, oh, he's calm, cool, and collected, which I am for the most part, but I can be fiery, but I don't tend to show it a ton. You know what I mean? Because you know how it is, like, as assistant coach, you kind of just fall in your own lane, I think. And it's times where you do it, and it's times where you don't. when I was, obviously when I was coaching this, when I was the head coach of the Blue Devils, I was in charge, so I could do more or whatever, or say more, or, act a certain way. But I think, like the part, that part, I think everybody's like, oh yeah, he's always calm. He's always, nothing gets to him. But yeah, it does. You know how it is. I just one of those guys where I always try to show a calm demeanor because, I always want to be, you look to the bench and be calm, you know what I mean? As opposed to me being like looking frazzled. And then, because I think, like you said, when you look to the bench and see, your coach is frazzled, then the kids are like, man, we done. So, I think that's like, it's probably not a misconception, but I think it's like one of those things where like anybody who probably knows me will be like, oh yeah, man, the dude's like relaxed and calm and whatever. But, I do have a fiery side, and I pick and choose when I get on guys. I don't want to be the guy that's always yelling at you. I want to like challenge you that one day and you're like, oh man, this, he don't ever do that. You know what I mean? So I would probably say just that, that perception of me just being like the calm and relaxed guy all the time.
I mean, you're a competitor, and the competitive spirit comes out, and that makes it, that's when you like, when you're a competitor, things come out. Like my wife always says, she was, dating me when I was coaching high school.
Yep.
She was like, there's two people. She always say this, even in college. It's Lamar Barrett,
yeah,
and it's Coach Barrett, and those are two different people. So she says that. So one thing I learned was Coach Barrett never came home.
Yeah,
so that was the whole thing I could figure out.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah,
big.
That's how.
Because honestly, like I don't have kids of my own, but I tell everybody all the time, man. I've been going to my niece and nephew's games, and different cousins. And I just now I look and be like, wow, man, like these parents, like I'm at a basketball game, these parents are going crazy, man. Like, and I make sure I don't say nothing because I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I want to, be the support of them, man. But I get it. They're supporting them too, but it's just like, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, take the coach hat off and just be.
Man. Yeah, exactly. Just be present.
Educate. We're all educators in this profession.
Yep. You're
always learning, you're always teaching.
Yep.
What do you try to teach or educate your players besides basketball?
I mean, me, like, shoot, when I recruit, when I talk to parents, when I talk to players, man, I always try to educate them first on being, especially like, our game is majority, African-American. So me as a young African-American male, I always try to educate those guys on just how hard it is, man, how hard it is out here, for us, man, because I mean, we don't get second chances. We can't make certain mistakes. So I always try to educate them, especially the African-American, the males on that, so to speak. But I mean, all my kids, I just educate them on being, I always say like, be a good person, man, be a good person, and try your best. Cause I always tell them, man, like at the end of the day, we all play, some players are better than the others. I can't get mad at you if you're putting your best effort out there all the time. So I just tell them, put your best foot out all the time, be a good person. And, at the end of the day, like, I think things will fall in line for you because, I mean, it's one of those things where, to me, you do the right things and, eventually those things get reciprocated for you. So I always talk about, just, handling your books and being a good person, working hard on the basketball court. And then, obviously, I do touch on, with the women's subject. I tell them, man, make sure you respect them and treat them like you would, like you would want your sister to be treated. And, like to me, like that's a big thing for a lot of, in college, you know what I mean? Like we've seen, issues that guys have had, and obviously in the pros too. But, I just try to make sure I educate them, because it's a serious topic, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I could have a daughter, you could have a daughter, you know what I mean? Like, and would you, I asked them, would you want your daughter to, to do that or whatever, but they get it. And once you go there, everybody gets it. But, I just honestly, I just try to, educate them on, just doing their best, man, doing their best, being good. And like I told them, I can't complain. You mess up, you make mistakes, as long as you turn that page and just keep pushing yourself, then, everything will be all right.
Great. That's great advice, man. Great advice. If you had a chance to, and I'm gonna say, sit down and talk with, have whether it's breakfast or lunch. Mm-hmm. If it's 2 or 3 guys, and you like, man, I want to pick their brain. What makes them tick? What made them be who they were, successful? who would be 2 or 3 people that you would like? I mean, a lot of times you got so many people, but like, who would you want to sit down with, spend some time with, a couple of hours, whether, like I said, breakfast or lunch, pick their brain and just, see what made them tick and see what made them successful?
I say the first person probably is going to be everybody. Kobe Bryant, man. Kobe Bryant. I mean, the dude was just wired so different. To me, like, he kind of didn't have that bone that everybody else has in their body that's like, that tells you to relax or tell you to, slack off. So I just would love to pick his brain about just, obviously he can't, but definitely would love to pick his brain about, just his work ethic, just different subjects, man. Work ethic, how he fought through everything, and how you overcome obstacles, different things like that. Because I mean, everything he kind of made big stuff look small. You know what I mean? He knocked out anything that came in his way, and then persevered. And then who else? Greg Popovich. I definitely would love to talk to him. He's a guy who just just been so successful, and he helped. Help so many people, help guys, become Hall of Famers, help other coaches, do great things, and kind of just, he seems, I don't know him, but he seems like a dude who just, he's for change. He does, he adapted to time. So, I mean, he's just a person to me, like, obviously a basketball genius, but just, the fact that he bigs up everybody around him. You know what I mean? Like, you see everybody, you look in the NBA, man, it's across the board, the teams, and Spurs, because like they were the NBA standard, man. They were the NBA standard. So I would definitely love to talk to him too. And I would probably say, lastly, I would say probably somebody like Tim Tebow, just because in college, especially being in college coaching, man, like just some of the stuff that he probably experienced, and obviously every kid is not gonna go through and have all that celebrity he had, but definitely would, just his mindset, man, was different, man. It was just, he was locked in, he was focused, he didn't let anything kind of like get in his way, and he was big with faith, man, big with faith, and I know he was probably tempted all the time, but I mean, he seemed like he persevered every time, and he did great things. So I would say, those 3 for sure, but like even like somebody like Leonard Hamilton, man, like Leonard Hamilton to me, man, he's one of the best coaches in college. I mean, and he's also a guy I think who really helps coaches, man, helps players develop, puts guys in good spots, and then just his philosophies, man. I just, I definitely that's probably somebody just talking to a couple of assistants and just some of his, some of the stuff they told me about, how he operates stuff and his takes on size, his takes on all this stuff. And I'm just like, wow, this guy, is a forward thinker. So, I think those 4 guys would be people I would definitely love to sit down and talk with, because, like, how it is. Like, it's one of those things where you see people have success. I mean, I almost want to copy it and have that same success. So, that those 4 for sure. Obviously, it's probably more.
And those are 4 different people too. So that's what you want. You want a variety, which I mean, I love those answers.
Yeah.
And speaking of, you said something earlier. We don't have to mention names up here. It's always a good thing.
Yeah.
It's like, but what's the strangest? And this one, what's the strangest or weirdest thing you've seen a player do or done outside of the basketball court? That's why I say you don't have to name names, but I'm sure you've been like, wow, I can't believe this person actually really did this.
I would probably say, I gotta think about this. Yeah, I'll probably say like, back when I was back when I was in college, like when I was a manager, like we had a one of our players, man, he was really good player. He just like, I don't get it, man. Like he let everything get to his head, and he's just always doing what he completely flipped the script from one year to the next. Like, was a great dude, kind of, and then turned into like an asshole, turned into a, bully / user. So, and he was doing everything he wasn't supposed to, smoking and eating bad, and I think that's probably it was extreme. So that's probably why I say it's probably one of the that's why I say it was probably one of the worst, because everything I said, it was to the extreme, where, like you said, where we won't want to say it, but it was to the extreme. And he was a NBA prospect.
Yeah, so especially if you've seen him like change, like what I'm saying, like, and you probably know why he changed. It wasn't the reason, but I feel you. And that's what people don't realize. I used to always say that to different players, is like, yo, I know what you're doing. Like,
exactly.
You can tell habits.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Everything, like you like everything changed. You could tell.
This is kind of an entertaining question. I like to, have you think a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
What movie or TV show title best describes your week? What would you say? Movie or TV show title?
Best describes a weakness, or my week.
Your week.
Let me see. Hey, at time. I would say my week's my first year of junior college. How to Get Away with Murder. Because, oh my God, these dudes was like, it was always something. You know what I mean? It's always something. You're putting out flames, you're putting out fires, and it's like, is this? And I'm like, is this normal? Like, some days you want to strangle the dudes, but I would say now. I would say, what show? A Different World, because this school is it's a different world than I've been, but I've been in recently. You know what I mean? So, just really high academic, a really big international base. It's completely opposite from where I was. You know what I mean? It's academics, and academics were here before, and now they're here. You know what I mean? So I would say a different world.
Great answer. I like that. What's your favorite word or phrase that you like to use? Because when you say it, like, the players, they pick up on it, or it could have been just a thing. What's your favorite word or phrase?
My dudes probably say, this word. I always say dudes. Dudes not doing right. I always say, man, you're not doing right, or I say you burnt out. You know what I mean? So and then so everywhere I've been, man, dudes will probably tell you, man, that dude he always saying I'm burnt out.
I'm burnt out. I like that. You burnt out. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
The best piece of advice I've been given was probably another coach in the recruiting cell told me, everything is good. I know you work, but why not? I know you work hard for your school every day, or you work hard, for your coach. But why can't you, do the same for yourself for a limited time? You know what I mean? Like, why can't you work for Ricardo Rush LLC for 2 hours a week? And I'm like, whoa, I never thought about that. You know what I mean? So to me, that was big, because, this coach is really successful. And this is, and I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, and, some of the stuff he said he did to do that. And I'm like, wow, okay, I never thought of that. So I think, just like you said, finding time for yourself, for personal development, you know what I mean? I think, because like you said, when you're young and you get caught up in, all this, it's like, you're running around so much trying to make sure you do a good job. I'm doing a good job. I'm working hard. I'm doing it. I'm covering every stone. So I think you can forget about yourself, in terms of just, making sure that like you're progressing, the right way.
So true. That's so true. I like when you say it. Like, why not work for yourself? I like that. Yeah. Rush, yeah. Success. And we kind of talked about it earlier. I think people a lot of times they think that success is always winning. Like, you have to be winning. Right. But what does success mean to you?
To me, I think success is like now, I would say success is, to me, guys doing the right thing. Guys, like when we're out and when we're traveling, like guys, maybe if they're in a hotel, they're not, they're acting accordingly. They holding doors for people. They they're genuine people. I think that's the biggest thing. Like in sports, man, like guys can forget, that at the end of the day, they're a person because they get so much glamour and, people look at, put them on a pedestal. So I think just, them being a good person, that's successful. I think like them like handling their business in the classroom, I think that's successful. Getting guys to graduate, getting guys, dean's list, honors list, different things like that. I think that's successful. And then, just having guys when they leave your program, they do good things. Like they, they're done playing basketball, but they have a good job. Maybe they're done playing basketball, but they want to coach. Okay, now they're coaching at so-and-so. I would say that's big. That's big for me. And then, just like you said, those are the three things I think, because winning obviously is, that's just definitely successful, but
everybody wants to win.
Oh, no question. No question.
We always say this. I mean, the custodian wants to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, like everyone wants to win. Like what's success? So you always think about that. People don't understand. Like this business is stressful because we just talking about it. Wins and losses are tough. And then losing out on a recruit or getting a recruit. That those are things that play the factor. But where is your happy place? Like, where do you go to from a mental standpoint, or what do you do? What's your happy place? Like, I know one of mine was, and I kind of stole this from Machine Davis. Machine Davis, when he used to go, like, I would call him and be like, man, where are you? He'd be like, I'm in the movie theater. And I was
he
would say, I'm at my, he'll say, I'm at my happy place. So and I knew where he was.
Yeah.
He said, I'm at my, like he'll say like, he was at the movies.
No.
I started doing it myself. I was like,
100%.
This is actually pretty good. Well, what's 100%. Your?
Hey, you read my mom. If you ask my mom to this day, she always laugh at me and stuff for this. But it's the movie theaters, man. Like I'm on a recruiting trip. I got time. Like before, I gotta go to the airport. If I got any time, it's at night. It's nothing going on. Boom, I'm in a movie theater because it's like relaxing to me. It's so relaxing. I'm not thinking of nothing. Like my phone's off. I'm not taking the call, and and I'm just genuinely sitting back. And it's 2 hours where I can forget everything. You know what I mean? So, that's definitely my place. It's funny because like you said it too, but that's definitely my place. I would say my mom, she laughs at me for that, but that's my place. That's my place.
Oh no, I definitely do it. And my other place was, but you just said it.
Yep.
I would be like, I treated myself every 2 weeks.
Yep.
To massage. Like,
oh man,
going to get a massage because people like, how long? I'd be like, no, I'm not going an hour. I'm going 2 hours.
Hey,
you block everything out.
100%. 100%.
And you relax. You don't have to phone. You can hear your phone going off, but you ain't got to answer.
Hey,
so
that I do the same. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna say every 2 weeks, but it's, it may be a month or two between. But I'm getting a massage.
Take care of yourself, man. So, like I said, I've known you for a short time, and I know people who know you. You're not a self-promoting guy. You don't walk around and brag about what you've done and all of these things, or you're a selfless person. But like, if you had to choose 3 adjectives to describe yourself, which ones would you choose?
I would say, I would just say loving first, because to me, like, I think every player that I ever coached probably know, I do anything for them. I love them. I do anything for them. So I would say that. I would say energetic. I think I bring energy. Like some days, some days I'm gonna be, some days I may be through the roof, but other days I'm still bringing energy. I may not be, I'm never like just, mute. So I would say energetic, loving, and I would say passionate. I think, I'm definitely passionate. I'm passionate about, what they, on and off the court, what they do. And I'm passionate about, what we're doing as a program and, just the development and the growth of everybody involved. So, and then, just in between the lines.
Love it, man. What person and or event, could be either one, has had the most influence on your life?
I would say my parents probably had the most influence on my life. I think they set me up. Obviously, you know, being from our area, that was a blessing. So, you know, being from our area and playing sports growing up, really made me love basketball. You know what I mean? And then I was, you know, fortunate enough to grow up in an era where we had a ton of good players, and, you know, a ton of guys that I call friends, or, you know, in the NBA, or were really good college players, or now, you know, now really good, you know, college coaches or NBA coaches or GMs. So I think, you know, just them and you know, them supporting me and whatever I wanted to do, and allowing me to, you know, just, you know, kind of just pushing me, to kind of, you know, go for my dreams. I think the event that probably shaped me most was probably the death of my dad. That shaped me a lot, because at the time, like, I was like, oh man, like, I was mad at the world. So it was one of those things where my dad introduced me to basketball. So I was like, man, I'm done with basketball. And my mom looked at me and she said, like, what are you doing? Like, you know, you love basketball, get back into it. And that's when I went to the junior college. So I think, you know, that kind of helped me, because it kind of gave me a fresh, like, it gave me a fresh outlook on, you know, my path, and like what my calling was. And I think I didn't know that before. I was like, yeah, I love basketball, but I didn't know what I want to do. But I think that event, and then my mom kicking me in the butt, made me wake up and be like, okay, like, I gotta help serve. You know what I mean? I gotta serve these kids. I gotta serve, like, you know, and help them get to what they need to get to, just because, I can do that. So I would say those two for sure.
That's powerful, man. You use the word serve. So
yeah.
Your mom, you know, like you said, she had to jumpstart you again.
Yeah.
Make sure, you lose you just lose a sense of purpose sometimes.
Yeah,
and then somebody got to be like,
yeah,
no, this is what he wanted. He would have wanted, like, so
no question.
That's a good thing that she was there and she helped you through that.
No
what energizes you and brings you excitement?
I would say what brings me excitement, just, man, like, my family. I would say my family. Off the court family, man. I really, like, especially, like, niece and nephew, really love spending time with them. And then I would say on the, with basketball related, I would say just, getting to work with those guys, man, getting to work with them every day. Just because, like, I still think those dudes are impressionable. You know what I mean? Like, to me, they're not finished products. So you can still, kind of tweak them a little bit and talk to them and kind of get them, and maybe, and I always try to, like, emphasize I was there 8 or 9 years ago. So, you know what I mean? Like, they may tell me something that they won't tell somebody else. So I would say, just off the court, I would say family and family for sure. And then on the court, I would just say just getting to work with those guys and do what I love, man. Because like a lot of people that know me. I don't do too much else other than, the basketball and like you said, I'm in the happy place most of the time. I'm relaxing, and movies, and, like you said, getting those massages and, just coaching. That's it.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
Going back, obviously you knew you made a commitment a long time ago. You go to University of Maryland, you end up being a student manager. So you probably knew, like, this is what I want to do. I want to be in coaching somehow or something like that. Because you don't go to school and say, I want to just be a manager.
No question.
I'm getting free gear. And like, that's what people don't understand.
Yeah, don't move.
The purpose when you do it. But knowing what you know now, and this is when you was, 18, 19, 20-year-old, you at Maryland, knowing what you know now, what would you tell your young self or younger self to prepare for as a college coach?
That's a great question. It's a great question. I would tell my younger self to make sure I'm taking in everything. You know what I mean? Like, don't take this moment for granted. I think, like, it was times where I probably took it for granted, or just being around and, getting caught. I'm falling for the glitz and glamour like everybody else, but, just be there, be present, and really lock in and take in everything and really learn, and, don't be intimidated by those big coaches. You know what I mean? Ask them questions. You know what I mean? Don't just be there and be shy. Like, ask them questions and, go talk to them. You know what I mean? Different things like that. And then other than, I think those are the biggest things I would say, because everything else, I think, like you said, was kind of good. But I would say just making sure I was present and making sure I'm not, like you said, falling for the glitz and glamours and, being excited to get all these t-shirts and instead of, like you said, locking in on more stuff and making sure I do, I did do like stuff with video and all that stuff back then, but just making sure, ask more, you know what I mean? Don't sit back and, wait for somebody to tell you, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to do this? As opposed to just going to them and asking. So I would say that do it earlier. I think I did it later, but do it early.
Awesome. Well, look, man, Ricardo, man, I want to thank you again for being a guest on the show and being unmasked.
Yeah.
Anything you want to leave the people with, man, before we go?
Just, man, like I always have to say, anybody can reach out to me, social media. I think it's like Coach Carter. Anybody can reach out to me, like Lamar knows, man. Anything, I always, I'm always available. So if anybody need advice or want some kind of guidance, I'm always available. And I kind of, like I said, I kind of always want to serve the community in terms of just being an outlet and being somebody that can maybe connect you with somebody else that I can't help. So I would say that, and any kids, man, just push, man. Work, work is, you got to work every day. You can't, don't worry about what everybody is. Everybody has their own journey. Just push yourself every day, and at the end of the day, be as good as you can be. Don't worry about everybody else. So I would say, those two things. But I appreciate you having me, and it was great. It was great to be on.
Well, look, man, I'm glad you got on, and it goes back to this summer when I was like, man, I got to get Ricardo on. So, and I mean, just what, and it's just the one thing I think I've done more than anything is I've listened to people. I hear. I mean, I may say some things when I'm around, but I'm listening because I want to figure out what type of person what type of person you are, and was just listening to you being around.
Right.
Like, I definitely one day got it. He's going to be going places,
yeah.
And you don't have to say much, but you can figure people out a lot of times when you're just listening. So,
no question.
But I do appreciate you coming on, and I'm glad you said what you said, like, because younger guys need to listen to you, like, you talking about kids who are in college now who want to aspire to be a college coach. They need to be listening to guys like you who just, you think about it, you graduated 8 years ago.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's why I try to tell them, man.
You're a Division I assistant. That don't happen to everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, more people need to listen to guys like yourself, or, I always tell Pete, who's a young guy, just turned 30 at Bradford. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so, they need to listen to you guys. I just don't think it was enough people, we talk about it with few of my friends all the time, is we may have failed some people that was behind us because didn't educate them. But
right.
So now it's all about educating these younger coaches so they understand it's not easy. It's tough.
No, it is.
And they do need to listen to more guys like yourself. So, I mean, like I said, I thank you again for coming on.
I appreciate it.
And then I want to thank the viewers for watching another great show. Stay tuned for the next guests as we get them unmasked. See you next time, and stay safe.